It's crazy because every year it's like we don't care about anybody else we play, but them.
That's the game. That's the date that gets circled. That's when it gets circled.
Right there. Yeah, it don't matter. That's the championship for us right there. Like them,
bro, they were buying players, bro.
They had to, bro. Them niggas ain't go to church. Them big dudes, them two big dudes.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying.
We had the guard.
You mean the guys
that
that
not in church, bro?
That never that they ain't had a grade, so they ain't never played in college.
Exactly.
Yeah, bro.
Exactly.
The two JUCO guys. It's like
you had to show me their baptismal papers. That's all I'm saying. You gotta show me video of them being dipped in the water, bro. I'm sorry,
bro. Them dudes, they don't even own a suit. Stop it.
He didn't even say a tie. He said a
suit, bro. Get out of here, man. Them two dudes, nah.
Oh yeah, nah. Okay. That's what I'm saying.
When you listen to this, you can leave Ocala in there, okay? Take the name out that I said earlier, but
I will say though,
leave in there, okay?
This last time I seen us like this is when we were in Oshkosh.
Oh yeah,
because that's the one that's like, yo, if we see y'all again, oh yeah, I will run it back 1,000 times. 1,000 times.
I already know how.
Freaking Ocala, man. Those dudes play D1. They had to. Niggas had to play D1, son. There's no way.
Thinking back, like, nah,
way, bro. There's no way, yo. There's no way.
I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people, is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.
Welcome to the Welcome to the 3-on-3 podcast. I am Hans here with my boy Ev. Boy, there it is. My boy Ev. My boy Lou.
Yeah.
And yours truly here, Hans Ludor. Great to see you guys. We got an early episode today for the holiday season, so we drop in an episode early for you. Hope you enjoy it. We have a lot of great content in store for you guys today, so buckle in. Let's ball up, fellas. So, the great Bill Withers once said, "Lean on me. When you're not strong, I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm going to need somebody to lean on." Shout out to the great Bill Withers. All right. So, Batman had Robin. Superman had Superboy. Even though I think Batman really had Commissioner Gordon or even Alfred, but we're not going to go into that universe right now. We're not going to go into the DC universe. Shaq had Kobe. Mike had Pippen. Mm-hmm. Hopefully you see where I'm going with this. Greatness is not achieved in solitude. Nobody does it by themselves. In the NBA, it's a team sport. This is not tennis. Shout out to the GOAT Serena. We need the help of others, which brings up the topic, the greatest duos in the NBA right now. We're having this conversation in the chat. We thought it'd be great to bring it to the pod. So we were listing who we think are the top 5 duos right now in the NBA. And we all agreed on this number. So we agreed on 4. Now,
3.
We're going to talk about where we disagree. But we're going to list the 4 or 3. I think it's 4 or 3, depending on everybody's list, right?
Yeah. Depending on the list, it might be 3 or 4.
Yeah. Especially the Pop Mamba, he's not here today. So his list may differ as well, too. So I think it's 3 to be safe, maybe 4, depending on how you compare the list. So most of us have Tatum and Bron on there. Most of us have Joker and Murray on there. And most of us have Giannis and Dame. Okay. So we can for sure say that those duos are on everybody else's list. Now, where we differ is where the fun happens. I'm going to start with you, my boy, Ev, as always. According to the list that we just listed out of those three, where does your list differ on the duos best in the league right now?
So as you said, Joker and Murray, Giannis and Dame, Tatum and Brown, although begrudgingly on my part, yep, those three. Where we start to disagree is the next two that I have are LeBron and AD and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Now, we'll put that with the one that I know you guys both have on there, that is De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. So let's talk about the difference in those two. Why Fox and Sabonis weren't in my top 5. Agree, two excellent players. I think it's a trade that's been good for both teams. You bring Sabonis over to the Kings, they develop it to a playoff team. In addition to bringing in Mike Brown, the coach, supercharged offense. You got an unselfish Sabonis, second in the league from the center position in assists per game behind the Joker. De'Aaron Fox having an all-star caliber season since he came back from injury at the beginning of the season. This is probably the best that he's looked since he's been in the league. So you definitely have a dynamic duo right there between the two of them. My challenge, though, when you put them against LeBron and AD, your in-season tournament champions, or even Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, is just they haven't done enough yet for me to put them into that elite category. When you look at KD and Booker, we can at least look at what they've done throughout their career in this league. KD, multiple-time champion, perennial all-star, all-NBA playoff player. Devin Booker led his team to an NBA Finals, multiple-time All-Star. You got De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis, Domantas Sabonis. Both of them 1 or 2-time All-Stars. They've got to build their hierarchy in the West. They've got to get out of the first round for me. They've got to at least play better defensively for me. I'm especially looking at Domantas Sabonis when I'm talking the defensive point, and from an interior standpoint, before I could put them into my top 5. So I definitely see them growing as a duo. They're definitely up there. But when put juxtaposed against some more seasoned veterans that have the resume and continue to ball at a high level, that's where they're just right below the cuff for me.
Okay, I can definitely understand that. Lou, where's your list change at? Where's your list at?
Look, man, we can let's stay on the three duos that were just mentioned. That differ. Sabonis and Fox, AD, LeBron, KD, and Booker. Completely understand all the points that you're giving there, especially with them being seasoned. Especially to be considered a true duo. I think you have to consider it like, are these guys, could they stand on their own? Could they be guys that lead their team on their own? We've seen what Sabonis was able to do with Fox being out and injured. Let's take it like this, right? What's that comment saying? What have you done for me lately? Sacramento's number 4. Phoenix and Los Angeles, the Lakers, are 9 and 10 respectively. Though we respect what these duos have done in the past and so on, but looking at what they've done as of late, their team isn't reflecting the greatness of that duo. And I think the most important thing, when you have a solid 1-2 punch, and this is why teams end up breaking up stars that aren't working. What is your 1-2 punch doing? Sacramento is at the top half of the table, and it doesn't look like they're going to be letting up, especially for the points that you just made, especially for what they're doing on the offensive end. So that's why I have Fox and Sabonis above them. Another duo that I have, and we'd be remiss in not mentioning these two guys, there's an asterisk here, and we'll get into that, is Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. You're seeing what Tyrese Maxey has really stepped in into the driver's seat, coming from losing Harden, right? So this is the season that I think Maxey's been waiting for. When are you guys going to bet on me? Right, you guys brought me in. You had Simmons. Simmons didn't work out. Okay, you gave the keys to Harden. Harden hasn't worked. Are you guys going to give me a shot? Because I think if the Sixers don't give him a fair shake, we start seeing Maxey looking to get out of Philadelphia. Right, we start seeing a disgruntled player. Maxey is stepping up into a role that where he potentially could be somebody we see as a true star in the league. And for me, having a true like actual duo, I think you really need to have two stars, whether it's two guys who have already established themselves as stars in the leagues or two guys that are coming up, right? So, but the interesting thing about your guys, KD and Booker, man, I was going through some of my numbers, right? I was looking at these guys while I was creating my list because I really wanted to understand for 36 minutes how many assists, right? How many field goals are being made by their counterpart, right? Their duo. I'm gonna give this to LeBron and AD because when we look at the top 10 duos in the league, I think they fall at number 9, right? And what they're able to do, and I think that may attribute more to AD's prowess in the paint, but they're averaging 2.9 assists, right? Per 36 minutes. That's cool. You know what I mean? And field goals made by off assists from LeBron to AD, think they tied for, I think in 7th, but at 45. However, that's also split with D'Angelo Russell. So it's not just LeBron that's getting the love to AD, it's also D'Lo, right? But interestingly enough, there's another guy, especially when we talk about MVP conversation, where you have Joker on the list twice, but not as the one on the receiving end, but as the guy who is the one that's doing the assisting. And coming in at number 6 and number 8 is Joker to both KCP and Michael Porter Jr., right? And at 2.7 assists per 36 minutes and 3.2 assists per 36 minutes, right? Both numbers that are higher. Actually, the number to KCP is higher to what LeBron and AD are doing. No knock to them at all, but we're seeing in terms of efficiency, who's really making it matter when it comes to the duo of the team. And this is why Denver is obviously higher seeded. So I think in terms of when we're looking at these duos, it's not just what they've done in their career, but what have you done for me lately? What are you guys looking like right now? Where's your team? And are you guys winning?
Facts. And I think we really have to take the duo and the impact on the team, and it'll give us a clearer picture of what they're doing and how they're doing it. Because I don't think that when we've seen it, right? We've had these discussions before. You can't just throw a bunch of stars together and, hope for greatness to happen, right? There has to be some type of chemistry there. There has to be some type of basketball cohesion there in order to make these duos work. And what I find funny and also fascinating is that each one of these duos has their own little particular context that we have to view them in to get a clearer picture. And I hate to beat a dead horse into the ground, but Ev, you yourself have pointed out on past episodes on the inconsistency of AD, or I know I have, and Lou has been critical about it as well too, in terms of where he's supposed to be playing at versus where he in fact does play at. Now, granted, I do understand and see the relevancy in the lack of experience that Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox do have, right? They have not made it far into the playoffs or the league and everything like that. But if that's the case, then we all should have had Steph and Clay on our list, and we didn't. You get what I mean? So, and they have won multiple championships, and they
Splash.
have been in their Splash Brothers. They have a duo nickname. Most of our people on our list don't have a duo don't have a nickname on like that as well too. I think we also have to do that balance and just kind of see how they're performing right now as a duo and what's happening right now. At the end of the day, we can't discount, and the Pop Mama's going to come in and bite my head in, but it is what it is. We can't discount the lackluster play that the Lakers started off with, especially in the first half of every game. Like, None
Don't
of the
be
duos are
bamboozled
happening.
by that in-season tournament championship. Do not let that fog your eyes.
Well, no,
They
no,
are
no,
not
no, no.
real. They
I'm
are
not. I'm
not
not.
real.
I'm not doing
Listen,
that.
put
I'm
some
not
respect
doing
on the
that.
Gary, okay? Look.
No, no. Well, yeah, yeah. But no, that's not what I'm saying.
We
So
need
when
to
I look at
insert
it,
SpongeBob when we talk about the Gary
Right.
and
And
show
then
this.
even and what I also go with is KD and Booker. They haven't played together that long.
And honestly, they've been brought in
So
for a big
can we
three situation. Like,
so I think we have to dive into that. We have to dive into that a little further. Like we can't just discount one side of the equation, which would be what you're saying, the legacy part of it as well too. In spite of the recent success that some of the other duos, i.e., Sabonis, Fox, and I know you have other reasons which you're going to get into for Joel and Maxey as well too. So
absolutely. So I'll go. I'm gonna go in a few directions with this. So definitely not discounting the present in regards to the legacy. I'm only factoring in the present. I mean the legacy if you're still doing it in the present. And when I say that you're still doing it in the present, I guess part of it is framing what am I talking about when I'm talking about a duo, right? I'm talking about, okay, everything else being equal, who am I picking? Right. And so what I mean by that is this. Okay, granted, Phoenix struggling somewhat this year. We would agree that their roster outside of those top three, and really outside of those top two, because Bill's been hurt all year. Outside of those
right.
top two, their roster is subpar. I gave y'all my rant 3 weeks ago on the Lakers roster, on my feel on the Lakers roster, right?
yeah.
So it's not just success, because if we were going off of success, our top two duos would be Tatum and Brown and Cat. And I already know how y'all feel. I see your eyes when I bring up Cat, huh? So it's not just that, right? So we know that we're talking about more than just the record. When we're talking about KD and Booker, I still see a KD that's near the top of the league in scoring, putting up numbers like he always has. I see a Devin Booker that's not only balling, getting points in the paint, but picking up the point guard role and averaging 8.2 assists a game, right? So I see a duo there that's balling successfully. I see a LeBron James, and my thing with LeBron James is he's playing at a great level, not at his peak, but at a great level. But he's also playing in a way that I can't definitively say that somebody else can knock him off. And AD, although, yeah, we're waiting for the injury to come. Sorry, Pop Mom, but we're waiting for the injury to come, the bad news to come and whatnot. AD is off to probably his most consistent start to a season that he's had at least since they won the championship in 20, right? So what I'm seeing from them right now is this LeBron and this AD in a matchup versus Fox and Sabonis in the playoffs.
But
Yes,
why
the
is that not
Kings may have a
translating into
better.
wins though?
I
And
feel
that's what
you.
it comes down to, right?
Well, their
Because
roster's been hurt a lot. Their roster's been hurt a lot. But no,
yeah.
they are struggling. They are struggling. I give
Because
you that.
I
I give
feel
you
you.
that.
All right, when we get to the playoffs, but it's
Got to make
7
it.
chances. It's
Gotta make
one
it.
you got to make it. Second,
That's
it was
true.
7 chances. You have
One
to
of y'all
beat me
might be
4
in the
times.
play in. One of y'all might be
Yeah.
waiting in the playoffs. That's
And
fair.
then
That's
now,
fair.
so now you have one extra, and you already have age that's working against you when you're the
Mhm.
Lakers.
And let me drop one more thing, just because I want to touch the Embiid Maxi point before y'all talk about it too much, and then folks don't think I'm the biggest Embiid fan in this chat.
No, I was gonna throw
I'm
it to
just
you next. So
saying.
you
I
I'm
gotta
just
you
do
know
it. I
you
saying.
threw
gotta
it to
do it.
You ain't
yourself. You threw
you
it
ain't
out the
Absolutely.
backboard.
you ain't choose your
Absolutely.
To
mans.
yourself.
You ain't choose
I
your
just threw it off the
mans.
Yeah,
backboard to
man, you
myself like
flawed,
Chet
dog.
did
You
last
ain't
night.
shout
So
out your homie,
anywho,
man. Come on,
so
man.
this is why. You know what's
Oh, here you
funny?
go. Here you go.
You know what's
Cheat,
funny?
cheating
Here
on
you
them.
go.
James Harden left Philly and said, "I'm not a system player. I'm the system." Right?
He
But
wasn't lying.
the system that I see right now, Joel, the
Mm.
process, Embiid is the best system in the league right now, offensively. Anywho, what I mean by that is
Wow.
Joel is balling. Listen,
Wow.
man, Joel's balling the best I've ever seen him. All right. Maxi is playing excellent.
Max?
Listen, Maxi's playing great. All right. 26 a game. Hold on, I got it right here. I think it's 26, 4, and 8, if I remember correctly. I want to get it right.
26-4.
26, 4, and 7, basically. Right under 4 assists, right under 4 rebounds, right under 7 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Maxi, this has been coming for 3 years now, right? Where he's shown glimpses of this, and he's showing it full time right now that he can
Mm-hmm.
do this. I just need to see him do it as the clear number 2 guy throughout a whole season. That's all I want. I want to see it. I want it to be locked in. Maxi is a bona fide number 2. This is the chapter that we're having for the next couple years. And
Yeah.
then yes, I'm having a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
Embiid and Maxi as the duo. They're a top 3 duo in my list once I lock Maxi in, right at that
Once they're
point.
proven. Okay.
Yeah, once they're proven. I just want to see Maxi do it in this role just a little while longer so I can have the duo talk with him. That's all.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I think that's valid. I mean, I think I'm not gonna say, well, life ain't fair, but I definitely see your point because, if we waiting for him to prove himself, again, I'm looking at what you've done,
Mhm.
right? From what you did last season, you showed you had flashes, and now you're doing it consistently
Mhm.
in this first third of the season. Awesome. Okay, now. Yes, I'm going to say based on, even though they just say, what is past results don't guarantee future success. I'm gonna project
Yeah.
here though, because if we were waiting on the other shoe to drop for AD, we can at least have some faith in Maxi to be able to carry them through. And I think there's so long that they end up being a top 4 team in the East, they're definitely a bona fide. I mean, they're top 3 duo when it comes to the stats. I mean, like, third in field goals made by Embiid, assisted from Maxi. So, and it's good to see. I mean, a lot of these duos involve, I mean,
I
a guard.
wanna I wanna make a tangent here real quick, and I know I
Oh,
don't normally
rock
do
out.
this, but as a big Embiid fan who has been trusting the process, who has really just been all for it and rooting it in the corner, in my inbox, just shouting out Embiid stats and
Absolutely.
letting me know, listen, man, letting me know what's going on. Are you not both happy and scared at how good he's playing? Here's what I mean by scared. Scared that he may lose his momentum towards the end of the
I know what you're
season.
saying.
Like he may wear down, because one thing that is been lurking in the back of Joel's career, just like AD. Well, not just like AD, but AD has the injuries, right?
Mhm.
Joel has that durability part of it as well too. You don't want to overuse him, even though you need him to win. You have to play him. Of course, if you're blowing out a team, you can kind of rest him, right, and not play him the fourth on those instances.
Mhm.
But he's a high usage guy. He's a high usage guy. Does that not both make you thrilled that he's putting out Wilt like numbers, but also scare you as well that he's having to do this and that it may wear down? Similar to what James Harden did in the Rockets. Remember his MVP seasons where he was putting up those numbers and then ran out of gas in the playoffs? Do
It
you have
doesn't
the
scare me at
concern?
all. It doesn't scare me one bit.
Really?
And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. For the first time in Joel's career, he is free. Right? He's not. He's not.
Tell me what you mean
In,
by free.
what I mean by free is he's not constricted to the awkwardness of Ben Simmons' game, to the awkwardness of Ben Simmons' situation, to the confusion of, is Markel Fultz gonna be there? Are we developing him or not? To the, although he didn't have an issue with it, to the uneasiness of the Jimmy Butler slash Brett Brown dynamic, with Ben still mixed into that, and with the constriction of the playing to appease James Harden. Although James Harden did make him an MVP, there's a certain play style involved in that. Joel Embiid has the most freedom to be himself, to be his full self. He has the best coach that he's ever had from an X's and O's standpoint that's giving him the opportunities and creating an offense that moves well enough, that's putting him in position to execute from all places of the floor, and a team that's deep
Doc just
enough.
caught a stray. Sheesh.
Listen. I mean, check
I know
my
how you
other
feel, but go
check my other
ahead.
group chat. All right, you want to hear some Dr. strays, but anywho, and a team that's deep enough and flexible enough to keep players around him at all times to allow him to be his best self at all times. And so what I say about all that is, I would take 75% of a season of Joel Embiid in this situation versus 100% of situations that he's been in the past, because this is what you want to have for the best chance of having sustainability for Joel Embiid as a Sixer for the rest of his career. You know what you're not hearing anymore? Was Joel Embiid going to be unhappy and go to another team and whatnot? And listen, you're talking to a Knicks fan here who would have been first in line to try to get him, okay? But I'm so happy to see Joel free, happy, and playing
Mm.
at the level that I've been telling y'all he would be at for years. So that's listen, I'll take this version of Joel for however many games I get it. And if he burns out down the end of the season, I mean, heck, we ain't made it past the second round of the playoffs anyway. So what really is different, right? But you have something. This is whatever, however long this lasts. And I'm sorry, I'm being long-winded. There's excitement to build on this version of this team with this version of Embiid.
So it sounds like, which I would agree with, you know, he needed no noise, no outside noise, which makes Maxey the perfect guy to come in to be Robin. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
To be that second, to grow into that second, that second in the 1-2 punch.
No, I agree.
100%,
I agree.
100%. I am gonna say that I have seen a different side of him, whereas he doesn't have that discontent or dejection that he normally gets when he quits on the team during the game. I haven't seen that. So except for that first, game of the season and things of that nature. But since then, I think you're right on spot with him being unlocked. There is such thing as a mental stress being lifted off of him.
Let's go to
And
therapist.
he's balling. He's
Tell,
balling. He's
tell me
balling.
what you see, sports psychologist. Tell me what you see.
Yeah, man.
But I'll tell you what I see with these next duos that we conveniently left off. One I mentioned before, which was Steph and Clay. They didn't make the list. We don't have Luka and Kyrie on there, Kawhi and PG, Ant and Cat, Randall and Brunson. Now, there's a couple on there which it makes sense why we don't have him on there, right? Kyrie's been injured. So for me, it doesn't make sense for us to really put him on there. He's been injured. He hasn't been in the lineup consistently enough for us to even say that, that's a duo with him and Luka. Now, the Kawhi and PG is an interesting one. But for me, I know that as big of a PG and Kawhi fan that I am, and I've been watching the Clippers heavy lately. They just had a 9-game losing winning streak. They lost against OKC. I don't think that it's a Kawhi PG anymore with the injection of James Harden. I think the dynamics have changed and have shifted. So we really have to kind of pay attention and see what that experiment develops into, similar to what you're waiting on to see if Maxey can sustain and be that true second fiddle to Joel Embiid. We need to see what this Clipper experiment really looks like, because some games it is Kawhi and PG going back and forth. Other games it's Kawhi and Harden going back and forth. So we really have to kind of look at that and see what that turns into. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Who really believes in Ant and Cat?
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
Number one in the
we
West,
buy it?
man. Number one in the West.
Do we buy it?
It's the number one in the
man,
West.
The Magic were number 2 in the West. Where are they at right now? I'm just saying, man. They'll
even
come
if
back
we're looking
down
at
to
it
earth.
as a snapshot, I think even as a snapshot, that's not the actual duo. I think it's a true team effort for them, right? Driven by Ant. Cat, yes, great piece, but not the true 1-2 punch. You know what I mean? Everybody else, you know that somebody, if they win, somebody's gonna step up.
22-9 for Cat.
I think they are a duo. I think they're a duo. I just don't think they're top 5 duo.
I don't think
that's just where I'm at.
So when I look, yeah, I see what you're saying, but because I think at the end of the day, in the back of their minds, and this is going to be very much like what we have been dealing with as Chicago. There's no clear leader at this point. There's some unspoken stuff, but until they figure out who's the number one, Cat still believes he's number one. Ant is number one. You know what I mean? So when you have something like that, are you having a true duo that's going to give you that 1-2 punch? Because at some point, somebody's not going to be happy and it's going to fall apart. And then you start to see that they're going to take from each other's game.
So you don't think that the key to their success this season is Cat knowing that he's not the number one and being free of the burden of being the franchise player for that team? Because that's what I think. I
think Cat still thinks he's number. Maybe that might be changing, but I think he still thinks he's the guy. He may not be getting lauded like that.
I think a real number one walked in the door and Cat had no choice but to figure it out.
Facts. I think that's what happened, but also too, I think we have to understand that it's just the first quarter of the season, right? And if we're honest, out of all the teams in the West, they're the ones that have had the least amount of change. They're the ones that have been most solid. And if we're looking at the West standings and we're looking at the teams that are at the tops, it's the teams that have had the most cohesion, the least amount of change. So I think that they're benefiting off of Cat knowing his place, but also off the fact that they didn't have too many roster change-ups. Everything was going as usual for them. So I do agree with you, Ev, but I also think they're benefiting off the first quarter of the season. I think they're going to come back down to earth. I think they are a duo. I think they're a good duo. They're top 5. I don't see it. But Lou, you actually brought up a great point. What is a duo? Because we do have these teams out there, these outliers, right? Where we have a clear number one, right? And when I think of teams like that, I think of Ja, right? Ja Morant. And he came back. Ev, you got to have your moment, Ev.
Shout out to
boy
my
Ja
boy.
came back, man. Come on, Ev.
Ja
Come on, Ev.
mother effing
stop
Morant.
Right now, man.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ev.
Listen,
go ahead, man. Go ahead, Ev. Have a Ja moment right now. Ja moment, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You in the last,
don't be surprised if MVP talk come around if he keep doing this.
Nah, they don't want to give my boy that much shine. But in the past 8 months, man, a lot of these guards kind of perked up, and folks are so quick to crown, the next new great guard out there. I'm looking at you, Tyrese Halliburton. I'm looking, listen, I love De'Aaron Fox, but I'm looking at you, De'Aaron Fox. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm gonna leave JB alone, all right? But I'm looking at you, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Okay,
he's balling out his mind, though.
There's a lot of folks out there, okay, that they want to make, top guard and whatnot. But I just want to say that my boy Demetrius Morant, all right, showed back up on December 19th, all right, and said, listen, I'm still here and I'm still him. And that's all I got to say, okay? Like my boy said, we kept receipts. I have nothing else to say.
Listen, man.
Look at Ev channeling his. Oh, I'm not gonna say his name, bro. We're not giving him no shine.
Yeah, listen. One thing I will say, bro. The illest catchphrase of the season. Call 12. Get out of here, baby. Yo. Get out of here, son. That's the illest catchphrase of the season yet. I dare anybody to top that, son. Put that on every t-shirt and billboard in Memphis. Call 12, son.
What?
Oh, how many levels that works on, yo?
Oh, nah. He won. Like, that's
how many levels.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
You know when Jay-Z drops like a triple entendre?
Absolutely.
Or when Eminem drops a triple entendre, and you're just like, did anybody hear this? This works on 17 levels. That call 12, son. You imagine, yo, we're ballers. You got the ball in your hand. You know what I'm saying? Call 12, ISO. You feel me? This dude is I'm doing this, dude. Hey, you need to call 12 the cops. Yo, like this, it's so hard, bro. That's what I got out of that game. Not that he made the game winning shot and he's back. Nah, call 12, son.
My G,
Yo,
the
I'm
script
done.
couldn't have been
I'm
written
done.
better. The script could have been written
Man,
better because,
damn.
yo, Adam Silver is really sitting pretty right now. I got to give it to my boy, yo. He's really he batting like 950 right now, man. It may not be 1,000, but he close.
I'm gonna tell y'all what's
Indeed.
crazy about that game. New Orleans has been Memphis's kryptonite since Ja
Years.
and Zion came into the league. All right. And when you see them down 24 points on a season that was already going nowhere, they could have packed
Mhm.
it up right then at halftime. And it could have
I know
been
I did. I
nothing.
stopped watching for a second.
Listen, you know what's funny? I was putting my son to sleep. I didn't make it to the game until halftime. So I saw all the good parts. I saw all the good parts, right? So I say that to say, and we're gonna get back to the topic. But
Nah, man,
matter of
this is
fact,
Ja time. We're gonna
I'm
get
a
back to it.
Well,
segue for you.
I had a lot of you not serious right now. Well, I was
no,
watching
listen,
it.
listen, absolutely,
I was like, yeah,
absolutely.
not
But
serious.
that's a game that can literally not just Ja coming back, but Ja coming back,
Change
and
your
then you have
entire season.
exactly. It could change your entire season, bro. They 5 games back from the play-in in the West, and the crazy thing about the West is that there's some good teams that are sitting there. You got the Warriors, you got the Lakers, you got the Suns. I think right now,
At 9.
all in the
Mhm.
play-in,
Mhm.
all in the play-in.
Yep.
But listen, man. When they start playing that whoop that trick in the fourth quarter, all right, y'all gonna know what
There you
time it is.
go.
That's all
There
I
you
got.
go. Call
That's all
Call
I
12,
got.
son.
12.
All right.
Yeah, that's pretty
But to your
hard.
point, to your
That's
point, I'm gonna
hard.
bring it back.
Oh,
The reason we bring up Ja
that's a
and you're
bar,
talking
son.
about it is, man. You're talking about excellent players and excellent players when it's not clear who, who's the clear duo. Bane having a career year, Jaren Jackson, still playing strong. So you kind of got like a big three there. But Ja's the Eddie Kane of the group. That's cool. That's cool. You talk about a team like OKC. Shea Gilly, he's balling, but who's the number two? Is Chet Holmgren gonna grow into that fulcrum?
Yeah.
Y'all
Or
don't
is
want to
it
give
Giddy?
him, y'all
Because
don't want to give
Giddy
him the
was
pro. It's not gonna
I'm
be
about to say,
Giddy
possible.
was
I
balling though
mean,
that last
Giddy
game. Come
was
on. Giddy was
so
It's not
balling
good.
though.
not even
Stop,
that.
stop, stop.
Giddy,
Just
was.
stop.
They were looking at Giddy to be that number 2 since last season.
You
So
It's
don't
they
gonna
want
were
to
be
give Giddy no
Jalen.
credit, bro.
It's
no
gonna be
the
Chet
expectation this
Holmgren
year.
Or Jalen Williams. They need to trade Josh Giddy while they have a chance. They
That's
need to trade
interesting.
Josh Giddy now.
That's interesting. You bring that up. Remember that. Hold that thought.
I will. I will.
Hold that thought.
But a couple others, like you look at Cleveland, right? And they're in a different situation. Donovan Mitchell's the best player on that team, but long term, with all the chirping going on around them, do they need to just prioritize focusing on Garland and Mobley as their duo and using Mitchell to build the pieces around them that make that duo work the best. So that's just a couple of the examples of teams where you're looking at it and it's like, okay, who is our duo long term that's going to be our foundation for the success that we hope for?
Yeah, 100%. It's interesting. Like I said, every team, every that we have on this list has their own little kind of story behind this duo or said duo. And some of these duos really have 3 or 4 players that are interchanging into this what we call duo kind of list. So it's interesting to watch. I, for one, am still intrigued with this Joel Maxey situation. It's funny how James Harden leaving unlocked so many things. That's what intrigues me for it. It's funny how somebody's style of play can really have a chokehold
Yeah,
on so many
stifle.
aspects of the
Sure.
game. And it's just why, even though the Sixers did have success last year, granted not where they wanted to be, but nonetheless success. So I for one am just yeah, it's wild. But let's move on to our next segment, guys. So we are talking about the other half of the league. So we talked about teams that are clear with duos or players that are interchanging in this duo. But there are some other teams that, y'all, they need some help. They need to call 12. I'm sorry. Man, that thing is wild. There's some teams that just need help, right? One that comes to mind is my team, of course, the Portland Trailblazers, where we got to win on the Warriors, and then we lost by 1 point to the Wizards, man. Anyway.
That was wild. I thought y'all had that, yeah.
Bro, you went for 41. What more do you want from the man?
I was like,
what more do you want from them, man? But
Well,
Sharp is injured.
Okay.
Brogdon's injured as well, playing hurt, etc. But go ahead, Ev, my bad.
Well, no, you answered part of the question, because that's where I was gonna go with a team like Portland and some of these other teams that we're gonna mention here. Who is their duo? Who is it that you say we're definitively building around?
Right. And I think every team has a different story. For Portland, I'm going to be honest, I don't think we've yet figured that out.
At all.
Now, granted,
especially seeing how Shaded popped in.
Exactly. What people traditionally are thinking is Simons, right? It has to be Simons. He had a breakout season last year. He's still balling right now, and he's kind of the forefront. But we had Shaden Sharp. He's playing well. Brogdon has played well for us as well, too, with his veteran leadership, and he can score. So he's doing that as well, too. And quietly, Grant
dominating
a couple 30-point.
Sorry, my bad.
No. Grant, he'll drop 30 on you multiple times this year. I think he's had the most 30-point games in the Portland this season. So you can't deny him as well either, even though they're not going to make him a true number one. He's going to be 3 at best, right? So it's different. We don't have that clear. We're still in that stage where we have to groom that number one. The front runner for us is definitely Anthony Simons. But I'm also wondering about these players where like they do have that number one. I think of the Pacers, right? Halliburton's that true number one. What are they going to do there? I think about Lou's situation, the Bulls. You got 2 number ones there. Like, who's number one? Who's number two? Who like what?
Kobe White. Clearly, what are we talking about?
I think the writing's on the wall here. Now
it's Kobe White. Okay, my
look,
bad.
Are we going to talk about it? Because we can talk about it.
No, I want to. I honestly, no.
So
this isn't jokes. You move a guy out, right? Not move out. He gets hurt, and now everything starts to really fall into place.
So here's interesting, right? So the Maxey situation is very similar, right? However, when we didn't have DeRozan, you know what I mean? Like, we did see this already. You know what I mean? Even him coming in as a rookie. Like, so I'm not surprised at the fact that now he's able to come into this role, especially then, I think he's also benefited off the times that Caruso's been injured, him coming in to really just come in and be the number one guard for us. And also his
Kobe White or
Kobe White.
You're talking Kobe White. Okay, continue.
Yeah.
Continue.
So he can, and he can shoot the rock. You know what I mean? From off. Now, he's our defensive liability for us on occasion, right?
Yeah,
so we have to think
that side of the ball.
Well, I mean, he's a defensive liability for us. So that's why you have to, when you're looking at lineups, right? You're looking at strategies like, okay, we want a little bit more boost on offense. Where are we going to supplement our defense? What is going to be our defensive scheme? So on and so forth. So, I mean, it's great. Trust me, I love seeing Kobe White doing what he's doing now, man. In the last 10 games, I mean, he's what? I think, let me see. I have in my notes, man. He's 25, 7, and 6 over the last 10 games. I love it. You know what I mean? I think Kobe would be doing it. You can insert Levine. Obviously, Levine is more of a perimeter player than DeRozan is. So, I mean, that dynamic also plays a role in it. But I mean, I'm loving what I'm seeing with Kobe White right now.
Are we surprised at the lack of tension? And here's what between DeRozan and Levine. So typically, traditionally speaking, this is me coming from the therapist social aspect of it. Typically speaking, when we see a situation where we have too many number ones, there eventually becomes tension between these 2 number ones. Unless Chicago's PR does a great job of keeping things on the wraps. Lou, you follow the team closer than anybody here, so you would know better than us. are we surprised that we haven't seen any jabs taking at each other between DeRozan and Durant? So why is that the case? Here's my theory.
Okay,
Here's my theory. Or here's a theory. It's not mine. Here's a theory. Are they not really number ones?
Okay. So there's a couple of things, right? So I was going to mention, that's one thing I was going to say, right? I think the experiment of these two guys, they're high level number twos. It's like a JB situation, Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown would be a number one on another team, but he's not a 1A guy. He's not a Tatum level number one. He's 1B guy. He's able to really, truly, it's a Scottie Pippen situation. These guys that, they can lead any team for sure. They could be the number one on any team. But what level of success are you going to get with that? I think there is, so for one, and I think we've seen that in DeRozan's career, right, where he's bounced from. And a little bit from Levine's career, right, from Minnesota to here. I think also the lack of tension is just because I think it just isn't personal between the two of them, And also, I mean, to be honest, DeRozan isn't out the woods, right? Him, Caruso, these guys could still, because we're still fairly early in the game, right? We're just getting into December. So
yeah, we're still in the first quarter.
Yeah, so we're very
coming out
early.
the first quarter of a season.
Yeah, we moving we're solid first third of the season, right? So we don't know. I mean, there's so much that could still be happening in terms of moving personnel. I wouldn't be surprised. I know we're on the back end poking and prodding, seeing what interest there is. Philadelphia, LA have emerged as kind of front runners now.
Stop telling that lie.
In the rumor mill,
Philly don't want no parts.
There is no market. There is no market.
I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? But other than that,
Pacers.
But but again, what does the package look like? So I think that it's still very, very early. We'll see what happens when we come back top of the year. But yeah, I think in terms of there's no issue between them two because I think it's not personal. It's just a matter of
I find that I feel like the presence of no issues is an issue.
Is the issue?
There's no true number one. I'm just saying that's
I agree.
If we're going by that generalization, which I don't necessarily subscribe to, but it's just telling, right? It's telling. We all know we play this game. There's certain characteristics that come, right, with leading a team, and everybody leads it differently, right? But it's just telling to me that those two have not come to heads, and it makes me wonder who, in fact, is leading the team. But like Lou has mentioned, one steps out, there's a clear definition. There's a clear style of play. We're all going in one direction. It comes in seamlessly. So I think it's a interesting not issue, but it's an interesting situation that's going on there in Chicago. And more to come. I do think a move is going to be made.
One last piece that I will say is because I know you were singing his praises about Vooch. I know Vooch is supposed to be brought in as a second option guy. He's our third option, to be honest. I mean, he's doing great stuff. But
who was he supposed to be second to, though? I thought he was always brought in as a third.
I think he was.
I think initially.
Yeah. I think you bring the three of them in. I don't think any of them
talking about before DeRozan?
Third option.
Yeah, I think you're looking at Vooch to be like a second option, but it just wasn't sustainable. Especially with I mean, he's not a true center, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, he's still putting up solid numbers in the last 10. He's averaging 18 and 11. 18 and 11. You know what I mean? And Patrick Williams has stepped up.
Williams looking better.
Yeah, he said maybe 14. I think he's giving us 14 and 5, 14 and 6.
I think it's an addition by subtraction, man. I think
that's all it is, right?
Yeah, you slide a Levine out. There's more room for your role players to expand.
Yeah, a lot more ball to go around.
Exactly.
You can run some different plays. I mean, it just is what it is, right? And we'll see again how this pans out. What I do think it gives us, I mean, we're 7-3 in the last 10. It looks great for us. Yeah, but I think that
you guys are winning.
10th place as of the day.
Yeah. So, we'll see, because at the end of the day, when it comes down to longevity of the season, and then when you're looking at, okay, in a 7-game series, when you got to play a half-court game, You know what I mean? Like, what can you actually do? And I think, that's unfortunately where one of our disadvantages. Patrick Williams is stepping into being the guy that we hope that he would be. But I unfortunately we're still a bottom tier team. So to really be competitive, we're gonna need to make some major moves. We'll see how it goes though. I'm happy, but I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, it's just an interesting dynamic to me. I always sit back and wonder, does this team have too many number ones or too many number twos? Like it's just interesting. It's interesting to me. As a team that doesn't have anything, I just find that
Yo,
very
chill.
funny. I just find
Chill.
that great.
I hate
Our
the
Find
shit.
that great,
numbers,
man.
our numbers in
Ooh.
Chicago are gonna go through the roof this week.
Listen, man, we out here. We out here.
I want to
We out
know
here.
who the number one in the Knicks is.
Oh, listen, it's
Ugh.
no, not don't do us like that. Now. I mean,
Let me know when I
I'm
can.
gonna
Let me know
say
when I can come back in frame.
I'm gonna say it's Brunson, but Randall.
Is
I mean,
Randall
they're
low?
1A, they're 1A, 1B. And don't sleep on us now. I mean, we playing great. We 6-4 in our last 10. We had a tough road trip.
You
We
said
handled
Brunson?
we handled our business there. It's 1A, 1B. Honestly, I think it's Randall. I do think it's Randall. Randall at when he's playing at his best, he
What do you think it should be, Ev? Who do
I
you
think
think
it
it
should be
should be?
Randall. I think the best
Josh,
ver- I think the
Josh
best
Hart.
version of
Really?
Randall.
Josh
I think
Hart.
the
Josh
best
Hart.
version of
Josh Hart.
Randall. Yes, I do.
Josh Hart. Josh Hart. Josh Hart.
Randall, listen, Randall's the multi-time All-Star. Randall's the All-NBA player. Randall at his best, when he's playing at his most disciplined, he gives you inside and outside scoring. He moves the ball. He rebounds well. When he's not ball stopping, we're at our most successful.
You
Takes the
mean when he's
pressure
not
off of
interviewing people?
Brunson.
Because he look
Listen,
like funny Marco.
hold on. Hines isn't gonna remember this, but he looks exactly like a friend I had in Warner Robins, that I used to play ball with all the time, to the point that I'm not sure that it's not him. I'm be honest with you. I'm not sure that they're not like older, younger brother or twins or something. But
Did he
eh,
play with us that time I was on base?
yeah, that's how you came out. Yeah, he played with us. Yeah, yeah.
Is it
I ain't
is
gonna
it
put his name out, but
is it
that's
is
my
it
boy.
Aaron Judge and Aaron Gordon?
It's something like that. It is something like that. Yes, but to my point, with
Lies and
Randall,
Kurt Franklin?
the thing I like about Randall is Randall will go toe to toe with a Giannis and think he's the better player in that equation. You see him,
Fearless.
he'll go bully ball with Anthony Davis and say, I'm the best player on here with AD and LeBron. And so it's that mentality that Randall has, that when he's on, listen, man, he gives buckets, right? We just have to keep him out of stopping the ball on offense and from getting frustrated and not hustling on defense. I'll say this real quick, since listen, we had 7 minutes on the Bulls. I get 6 minutes on the Knicks. It's only fair.
No, take your time, man. Go ahead, man.
I'll say this.
You guys are winning, so
Yeah, we
unlike me.
I
Go
posted
ahead, man.
this on and Reddit a couple weeks ago, and some of my Knicks fans, they try to kill me for it, but it's not looking as bad as what I said. So Mitchell Robinson got hurt 2 weeks ago, right? And I said this could potentially be
Mm-hmm.
addition by subtraction. Mitch was off the kind of the best season that he's had so far, right? But he bogs down the paint. With him and Randall on the court, they both they both can get into that lackadaisical hustling back in transition. Um, Removing him, well, not removing him. He has to be gone for, we got about 6 weeks left in that, from him coming back from injury. But would the team be quicker? Would the pace pick up some? And I'm seeing that over these last few games. The Villanova Knicks have been playing well. That's our boy White Dante, and
Oh
Josh
yeah,
Hart
man. White
coming in.
Dante, man.
Absolutely. So we're finding our cohesion as a team. Tibbs is always going to bring the defense. We're still top 5 defensively. We're top 5 in 3-point percentage. We just got to get our free throw percentage up, and we've got to shoot more. And that'll get us into the second half and overall offensive efficiency. But I like what I'm saying. I do. I like the effort and cohesion that we bring as a team. I like Randall and Brunson together as a duo. They were in my top 10 in duos, and we'll see where it gets us come
But
playoff time.
but I think you hit the nail on the head in the sense of, if you read in between the lines, yes, Randall is your number one option, but has to be managed. So there's a difference when you play the game, right? There's a difference between being the number one option versus being the one to initiate the offense. So the number one option doesn't always have to initiate the offense, right? And I think Randall has come to terms with that, coupled with the fact that, like
Some
you said,
nights.
coupled with the fact that Mitchell is injured, so he's no longer there, getting into driving lanes for Brunson and everything of that nature. But you basically took it. You have to manage that with him, because he'll get in his I'm that bully mode, and he'll try to steamroll you. He's a workhorse. He's a workhorse. And that doesn't always work well for every game. Some games, yes, you can workhorse and bully the other team, but other times you have to have that finesse about you. You have to be a little more creative, and that's where Brunson comes in and he excels. That's why I question who's really the number one. I think that Brunson does better at pacing the game and setting up Randall and managing that. But how long can Randall be managed? That's really the question for you guys. How long can he be contained? How long can he buy into Brunson starting and initiating the offense? What happens one day where he feels like he's got it going on and he can bully this guy, and Brunson feels like, no, let's kind of go that way. What happens there? It's something that has to be managed. But you guys are doing a good job of it right now. I question, is there anybody equipped on the Knicks to manage that? Is that going to be Tibbs?
It comes
Is that
down
going
to
to be
Tibbs.
Brunson?
He has a solid. Of course, he has the defensive pedigree, but we need an offensive coordinator. But I mean, our offense has been terrible this year. So I mean, I say that, but it's not. It's not entirely fair to say that. But I still say we need an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that duo is yeah. I mean, there are offensive coordinators now in basketball.
Oh
So
yeah, they have
yeah,
offensive coaches. They don't
yeah.
call them that, but that's what they do.
I seen a joke the other day where they were calling them coordinators. I'm like, here I go. But the Randall Brunson thing, it reminds me, it's reminiscent of, for me, in terms of how you're describing it, how you're talking about, even though I don't think this example had a player that necessarily had to be managed, but with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, right? Who's the number one on that team? Right. I think it's a similar type of situation, right? You have a true floor general who's like, okay, this is how I'm going to help us run this, right? And then the guy who's supposed to, be the option for number one option. And I think that so long that they are locked into that idea, that process, that system, I think it plays to both of their strengths. And then you just put the other pieces around it.
No, 100%. I love that example, because there were times especially during that Clipper era, right, where you see that Blake clearly wanted to initiate the offense in the post, right, because he also has a skill set to pass from the post as well, too, which is fairly underrated on his. I know people want to laud him as a dunker, but he was a great passer as well, too.
Facts.
But he can initiate the offense from the low post, and he would often want to do that. But Chris Paul also, he's great at initiating the offense and moving the ball and cutting and getting into the seam. So no, I think that's a great example, and just managing that, right, and figuring and picking your spots.
You know
I
what?
just don't know how the Knicks are going to continue to do that, right? What happens when Mitchell Robinson gets back?
So what
He
you
was more
just
athletic.
said,
He could be DeAndre Jordan.
well, so what's funny about the things that you just said, but that both of you just said, is that Randall at his best is comparable to me in play style to that version of Blake Griffin. Not the above the rim part of it, but that when he was at his most complete with both getting it to the hole, distributing the ball, that version of Blake.
Getting that jump shot, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Randall at his best is very comparable to that version.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yo, we just
100%.
had some synergy. Oh,
You heard that, man, right?
That was hard. That was okay.
Listen,
I'm gonna
man,
stop out with it.
We're running in the form, man. Call 12, man. Somebody
Call
call 12
12.
out here, man. Call 12,
Yo,
man.
I'm just gonna find every opportunity that he can.
Bro,
You
if
should,
listen,
man. You should.
Ev,
Listen, man.
you know our relationship. You like a player, I find the holes and I poke the holes in that player and make it hard for you. But after what I saw there, bro, the bar that he just gave me, bro.
So
Listen, man.
So
Now
does
you're
that
leading the
mean-
bandwagon. You in the front seat.
Does that mean I
Listen.
don't have to hear any more Darius Garland is better than Ja Morant foolishness?
No.
from you?
Listen.
It doesn't
If
mean
he
that.
had the athleticism, I stand by that. Okay, but that 12 bar, yeah, man, you gotta hear nothing, man. That 12 bar, he gave me a bar, bro.
Wait, Hans,
That
I want to
bar.
just say you said if he was as athletic, he'd be better than Ja.
Yeah, I stand by it.
We don't have to go down that path.
I guarantee it. Where's that Denzel quote?
Exactly.
Blue magic, baby.
But he's not as athletic. So
All 12 out here setting these
Yo,
streets, y'all.
Hans is just he's gonna have
Hey, I'm
random
done.
moments.
Okay, I'm done.
He gonna wake up
I'm
in the
done.
middle of the night. Man, call 12.
Call 12, son. Call 12. I'm just saying. I just
Any-
see it. I just see
Any
the progression
inconvenience
in
we
that.
have, hey, man, the parking lot is full. We're gonna have to go to a new deck. Call
Man,
12.
12.
Call 12. Last thing I'll say about this, guys, and I know we have to sign off. We're running low on time. Kenny the Jet Smith, I'll give him credit to that with his Beijing beard that he's doing right now. He pointed out
half beer.
half beard. He pointed out that oftentimes when you have a great player, they're the ones that can turn on the light for you. He says great players don't lose that drive. Great players, and he made that distinction. Great players don't lose that competitive edge. Great players don't lose that drive, and they're often the one that has to lead the team through the darkness or shine that light. And what I saw the other night was Ja turning on that light for Memphis. You know how we talk about Sacramento lighting those beams? Memphis is lit.
Ultra light
They
beaming.
call in 12. They call in 12.
Yo,
12.
Whoop that trick.
I can't
Whoop
stand you.
that trick.
Hans, I
Whoop
did have
that
one
trick.
question for you though.
All right, we got 1 minute. Go ahead.
It's both of y'all. And you know what? We're gonna do what we can in the 60. Y'all brought up Lori. I am very
brought up
curious. Lori Morgan in the chat.
He was on
And
the
it's-
list. Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
it,
I was like,
but it was
anybody talking about
nobody.
no Lori
No, but it was no. It was also in the chat. No, we're not talking about Lori Harvey. We're talking about that bum ass Lori Morgan.
Call
But
12.
yeah, I can't stand this guy. Any thoughts on where he goes next?
On the spot, OKC has the assets to make a move.
Ooh.
They've got
Um,
enough extra picks that they could waste picks to get a guy like him.
Not even just picks. Not even just picks. But I'm waiting for Hans
And Josh Giddey.
Listen,
and
man.
Bertans.
Yeah.
Trade
Bertans, I understand.
But
Bertans, I understand. Giddy. Yeah, I can see that as far as like making trades happen. The team that needs him, Pacers. Hallie needs help.
So what
That's
you
all I
give
can say
up?
on
You
that.
you give up Miles Turner or you give up
You
Mathurin?
give up Miles Turner or you give up Buddy. But I just don't know how many picks they have. The
Yeah.
contract situation that's going
I'm
over
curious.
there on the Pacers.
Yeah.
But you need help. I say you
No, it's
give
not-
up
it's not
Turner,
about
you
him.
give up Buddy, and you pick up a low rent big guy from waivers or anything like that. Just somebody to help you protect the rim. You'll get your scoring from Hallie, you'll get your scoring from marketing, and just go from there.
Yeah. They get a
But
guy like we
but
got
let's-
like when we
let's be
picked up
honest.
Drummond, right? Like when we picked up Drummond.
Mhm.
Something like that.
In 10 seconds, let's be honest though. The Jazz need to keep Lowry, trade for Tyler Hero, and trade for Austin Reeves.
I love the fact
Utah,
that you're doing
just
this
do it.
on this
Just-
particular episode.
Just do it, Utah. Just do it. Like, come
And on
on.
that note, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
If this episode never comes out, you know why.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, check out our YouTube. We have the OT segment. That's where we just have additional conversation that did not make the final cut. So switch over to our YouTube OT segment to listen to more content. Thank you for joining us. Have a happy holidays. We'll see you guys next time.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, everybody.
What's up, guys? Thank you for listening to the 3on3 podcast. Please be sure to give the episode a thumbs up if you loved it. Hit that subscribe button, and last but not least, hit that bell so that way you're notified every time we drop a new episode. Hit us up on our social media, guys. You can find us at the 3on3 podcast on IG and Twitter. If you want to give us any ideas or suggestions, shoot us an email at the 3on3 podcast @gmail.com. We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. See you guys next time.